Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STLTechTalk podcast. My name is JJ. We have another great show just for you. Are you ready for the top tech news stories of the week? Apps you should download, awesome interviews, fun and lively commentary on technology. Of course you are. Up first, our guest, CEO and co-founder of Pushup Social. He is a tech entrepreneur inspired by solving problems in growing communities. He is working to rapidly grow Pushup Social with the help of an amazing team. He co-founded LaunchCode, Cubicle.com, and Lab 1500, among other companies. Say hello to the amazing Dan Lohman. Hello, Dan, and thank you for being on the show, sir.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thank you for that intro. I appreciate it.
You deserve it because you're awesome.
Thanks, JJ.
However, this show is not complete without my good friend, founder, editor-in-chief of STLTechTalk.com, producer of Codecast by STLTechTalk, co-creator of STLTechChic.com, our women in tech site, the uncanny Kevin Harvell. Say hello, Kevin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you, Dan, again for joining us tonight.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at STLTechTalk, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Tumblr. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, STLTechTalk. Subscribe to us using push-ups. Go to the bottom of your screen after, well, whatever, and sign up for push-ups. We'll talk about that throughout the podcast. Also, you can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. You can download our official Windows Phone 8 app and Windows 8 app, or listen directly from the site. Visit STLTechTalk.com to keep up with our tech news, podcast, codecast, programming code, hands-on reviews, event coverage, and much, much more. And don't forget you can interact with the show by sending us feedback to podcast@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, we will do our best to answer the questions that come through our chat room in a timely manner. Special thank yous go out tonight from JJ and Kevin to Hackathon Watch, Core Graffiti Art, Chris O'Connor, Roderick from Tech Guy Smart Buy, OG Systems, Joanna Pinn, Lawrence O'Brien, Jack Schroeder, Gabe Lozano, Andrew Clark, Global Hack, Jim Enright, Dugan Sherwood, LaunchCode, Brian Dacey, Startup Beast, Zane Shaw, Sherman Lee, Good Audience, Sebastian Bruce, and just thank you all for being awesome people and supporting our show in one way or another. We really appreciate that. And speaking of supporting the show, let's thank our sponsors, Heartland Realty. Go to heartlandhomesrealty.com for all your real estate needs. And, of course, Unidev. Been wearing this shirt for the last 7 days. It's seen better days, and the last 7 days has not been one of those. If you dream it, they can build it. Custom software, end-to-end development, beautiful web design, and creative marketing solutions. In business for the last 25 years with 200-plus customers, 24/7 support, and will not let you out or let down on the creation of your dreams. If you want software development, content management systems, mobile development, web design, e-commerce solutions, digital marketing, and hosting, go to our website, click on their banner, and go to Unidev or go to unidev.com where you can get quality service today. So let's get to it. Dan, the reason why we're all here tonight is to talk to you, the awesomest person ever. What got you started in technology?
So I think it was kind of it's been a gradual build. I started off in kind of less scalable technology. I actually came back to St. Louis in 2004, 2005, jumped into restarting an office furniture company. From that, started a few other kind of spin-off companies, ended up starting another company called Cubicle.com. That's effectively was really the first place that you could buy cubicles online, and that was, I guess, the first. I'd always been intrigued by technology. I worked for Bearing Point doing some systems integration back in a previous life, so I've always been interested in technology and trying to infuse that into whatever company I was working on. But after Cubicle.com, I kind of saw how scalable that technology is. The fact that you can reach customers all over the world in such a it's still difficult, but it's easier than a lot of the traditional means. So that coupled with the fact that St. Louis, I jumped into really the startup scene there's so much momentum going on. We're starting to see some successes. We're celebrating those successes, and we were looking for space for Cubicle.com for a company we were starting called Ignition Tank. So my wife Liz Lohman and my business partner Yen Anderson really started putting together a space, really kind of an incubator space. At the time, we were thinking we would start more companies, start different opportunities, see what would work, what ideas were good, kind of run with those. We also needed space for Cubicle.com, and a buddy of ours really owned a building on Washington Avenue that we were actually parking in, looking for space, and we decided, let's put our startup companies upstairs.
Nice.
There was more space than what we needed, so we allocated the first floor to Lab 1500, really an entrepreneurial space, entrepreneurial center, co-working, workshops, classes, meetings. And Lindy Niedner's been tremendous. She runs that space. She runs that company. But out of that, so it's kind of a long story, but out of that, I met my co-founder, one of my co-founders, Yomi Toba, who was a Lab 1500 member, and we were introduced. I took a look at what he was building, the technology, the prototype that he was working on, and I was blown away. I was familiar with the industry and knew what he was working on didn't exist, and he wanted to grow, really build a team, and I wanted to grow a scalable company. I'd been working on, the way I describe it is, I was working on building companies in a scalable way, meaning more companies.
Right.
But I really edited that and really wanted to work on building a scalable company. So we partnered up, Yomi, myself, Yen Anderson, partnered up on Pushup Social, what became Pushup Social, really built on the infrastructure of Yomi's prototype. We kind of rebranded it a little bit, pivoted it a little bit in terms of kind of the technology pushes up from the base, really established a foundational solid brand, and for the last just over a year, we've been really focused on growing that company. So that's a kind of a long answer to your question, but
love it. I didn't even need to participate. It was like a fireworks show at the very end, right? Where you're just like boom, 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 boom. So much stuff's going on. I'm taking it all in, Dan. I'm taking it all in.
Well, that's in the past. I've had a lot of different things going on, and I've recently, in the last year and a half, I've really tried to focus, and I think that's working well.
Yeah, let me know how that turns out. I'd hate to see you focused if this is you unfocused. No, you're a pretty productive guy, not going to lie. So what experience did you have to learn very quickly to get you where you are today? I mean, obviously, you said that you've had a passion for you in the space. Elaborate that a little bit. I like long stories. So, you know what? Frankly, what I like matters the most. So
there you go. I like that mentality. So really, what did I learn quickly that set me up for running this in the way that we're running it now?
Absolutely.
I really think the root is the fact that is that focus. In the past, I'd been able to multitask. I'd been able to start a business and grow it without it failing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that it's
necessarily awesome
the best way.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that when we were right after we started Pushup, and really I dove in full force into that. We were looking for tech talent, and there was a universal lack of developers. We had funding, we had money in the bank ready to it, and we couldn't find the right people.
Well, it's still this field, this industry is it like it just doesn't have any unemployment almost. You have to be like a serial killer to not get hired somewhere. I mean, if you even know what Java means, you can get hired somewhere.
Yeah, you're spot on. And so we felt that pain, we started talking to other companies in the startup scene, other individuals, and we sat down with Chris Oliver, Chris Summers, Jim McKelvey, to really brainstorm how to solve that problem. And what really came out of that, Jim had an idea to pair developers together to educate that novice developer with that experienced developer, resulting in one, better code, two, somebody who's trained and gets up to speed quickly. So the reason I mention that is that what I learned from that, really that initial experience putting LaunchCode together, has been tremendously impactful to me in growing Pushup. And the reason I say that is we strategically said with LaunchCode, okay, first step is get companies on board. Second step, get the developers to apply. Third step, pair them together and then iterate, do it better. But when we were planning it, but we went back and said, okay, steps 2 through 4, let's throw away. Don't focus on them. Solely focus on really, getting those companies. So we were able to get 100 companies to sign up in 30 days. And I saw what tremendous focus could do in terms of hitting milestones and really getting a team to rally around a specific thing. So I would say that experience has been tremendously pivotal in terms of framing how we grow Pushup and how we build Pushup by really taking the milestones and focusing the whole team on achieving those milestones. That's, it's easy to say, but it's, even knowing that we want to do that, it's always very, very difficult to do that as well. And those milestones change. You have to iterate. You have to adapt to other external factors. The bigger the team gets, the bigger the company gets, the more things are done in parallel. But that focus, yeah.
So, like, just to expand on this a little bit, because it's easy to get cheesy a little bit on this, but I think that people in general, when they hear what you just said, are theoretically there, but the actual application of it is the hardest part, like you said, because a lot of people are used to the assembly line, right? Everybody's used to having a boss and just kind of hating doing what you're doing, or whatever the case may be. Is they don't. Most people don't conceptualize, right? Critically think outside of themselves or outside of the business as a whole. What I mean by that is, if you were going to school and you had a job while you were going to school, you're used to that assembly line mentality. You go to work, you get a paycheck, an hourly paycheck for. It doesn't matter if you did a really good job or kind of a sort of a good job or a bad job or whatever. You got a paycheck. It was this cycle, right? It wasn't a thought on a broader scale. And then when you try to explain that to a different approach to someone, the people who are naturally derived, that don't fall into that necessarily category are your entrepreneurs, right? Like the people who are a little bit independent, and you want those people. But from my experience, it's like herding cats, but only way worse because they can talk. At least cats can't talk. So what I mean by that is you've got so many different personalities, and most of them are independent. So you have to convince them that what they're doing makes sense. So all of that is difficult. And then you have to have your workers still too, and then kind of inspire them to say, okay, you're not naturally inspired by what we're doing here. I need to give you a little influence or whatever. So you have all those multiple gears working together, and people don't, I don't think, hear all of what we just talked about enough a part and see it as a bigger picture, a bigger machine, if you will.
Sure. No, I think you're spot on. I think something that I've learned and experienced has really been that you don't have to build a company the way it's typically built.
Right.
You can build that company. It's up to you to conceptualize what is that company, what are the goals, how is it valued, how is it how do you generate revenue, what is the organizational structure, how do you set it up, what problem does it solve?
Yep.
So
you ask people the problem, they're like, what are you talking about? I just want to do this thing. And you're like, well, if that thing doesn't solve a problem, you're not going to get paid.
Exactly.
So,
I try to start, and this is something that I've definitely learned over my past experiences. But I try to start with a problem and
work backwards.
And yeah, it's if there's that, starting with that problem and figuring out a solution. If you're solving a problem that isn't compelling,
right,
then it might not need to be solved. If you're truly solving something that is a pain point for a substantial market, and then it's just a matter of how do you do it, how do you figure out, how do you execute. But I think you touched on another thing that is tremendously important, really rallying a team.
Right.
And there is no possible way that I could do any of this without the team that we've built. It's inspiring, and
oh, sure,
that's what gets us to where we're going, and that's what really determines whether we're successful or not. It's a huge. It's really inspiring being able to know that the whole team has the that unified incentive or objective.
Well, everybody's hungry. I mean, everybody. Yeah. In order to eat, you have to do this, or whatever the case may be, as to pay rent or whatever. You insert whatever here, but you still have to do this thing in order to get that.
Sure.
It just makes people hungry. It's what I call it, anyways. Is make people hungry. Like it's like when when you go out and do things and you're like, man, you could have made your boss you could have sold me on 5 other things, if you would have just taken an extra step, and people who are hungry go that extra step, I guess you could say.
Sure, and I think it's also building something. Yes. I think that's a common theme in the St. Louis startup community. People are inspired and intent on building something and creating things. And when you get a team that's rallied around that, creating something and taking the pride in everything they do, that's when you have something special. And I see that in Pushup, but I also see that in the whole startup community. The companies at T-Rex, what they're doing in Cortex, CIC, the accelerator programs. It's all we have something special, and we have the momentum to go along with it.
Oh, I believe so, and I'll be right there. I'll be right. If you need me, just JJ. I need a spark, brother man. I need a spark. I'll be there. I'll be there in an hour. No, Kevin, you're up with what's going on now?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've talked about Pushup. That's some of the stuff that you've got. What else do you have going on now? Maybe besides Pushup that you're looking at.
I really Pushup is my main focus. I support all the other companies. I've got tremendous business partners and managers. Dave and Joanne Singer run Warehouse of Fixtures. Josh Ritchie runs Refurbiture. Liz, my wife, runs Cubicle.com, and she's doing that with a new baby. Lindy Needner runs Lab 1500. And then Yomi, Yen, and I run Pushup Social. And then Brendan Lind has been doing a tremendous job with Launch Code, along with Jim and Rosa Mayer and Robin Carnahan now. There's a tremendous team over there too. So my focus is on Pushup Social, and I try to support all of those other companies in any way I can. But to really, I've seen what Focus can do in terms of achieving objectives, and that's my kind of full focus right now. We're launching in September, really the month of September, in terms of our hard kind of PR turn on launch with Pushup Social, and that's my focus.
All right, so for people with websites right now that are trying to find a nice balance of work life with when it comes to social media, because I mean social media can be pretty overwhelming, and then trying to build followers and people that like your pages and stuff like that. Tell people how Pushup Social can benefit their website and why they might want to get involved with Pushup Social.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll step back a little bit and tell you kind of what the technology is, and then kind of mention how it can help. So boiling it down, Pushup Social is a technology that allows you to add an online community to an existing website in a matter of minutes. So it's a very, very easy implementation, seamless integration. And really the problem that we solve is the fact that brands and organizations are actively funneling people away from their websites to really create a community. They know they need to build that community, but they're sending them to to Facebook and other social networks to engage. And so the problem that we solve is, we want to enable that organization, that brand, that organization, that company, that nonprofit. We want to enable them to be able to build that community, but do it in the context of their site without actively, funneling people away. And that's not to say that we want to be an either-or to a Facebook or other communities. We want to leverage those platforms you can actually share externally. So if you make a post to the community, to the Pushup community, you can share that externally to Facebook or tweet that out with the intent to really cast a line to other communities and bring in those followers. But in terms of when I boil down the value points for an organization, one is really engagement. It's taking those website visitors and turning them into community members. We've seen increases in terms of site health, so average time on site, number of page views per visit have increased, which really affect optimization and SEO. There's the analytics that you receive. You have, as a community organizer, as an admin, you have access to the really who those members are, so email addresses, and those members. With Facebook specifically, if you're only relying on Facebook, and we don't say don't do Facebook, but we see it as a little bit of a wider net. With Facebook, you don't have email addresses. You don't know sometimes who those likes are, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to message them with some of the algorithm changes. So we view a Pushup member as really a brand ambassador, somebody that's closer to that brand, that's benefiting the site. At the core, it's taking that static informational site and making it that much more engaging, that much more sticky, that much more relevant, by enabling those organizations to have a conversation, to create those brand ambassadors. So.
Right, and I mean, if anybody wants to, go to STLTechTalk.com and join our
not if anybody wants to. I'm not giving them an option, Kevin. Everyone go. Right. Everyone go. I'm not giving you the option. If you don't, I will find you, Internet. I will find you.
One of the things I really love about Pushup Social and how it just integrates so easily with our website, for example, it just literally pushes up from the bottom. That's just awesome. I love how.
And I'm glad you touched on that. Really, I went over the problem that we're solving, but our differentiator, there's other platforms that you can you're able to build your own community, your own online community. However, every single platform out there forces you to rebuild your site. Right. So if you wanted to do what Pushup allows you to do in terms of, have members, share content, connect, post content, photos, etc., you would actually have to rebuild your site in another platform or to integrate another component. which is very time-consuming, costly, very difficult to do. Typically a non-starter. So if you're a larger organization, it's really not a feasible, really possibility until now. So we're just, in terms of the implementation, it's pasting a snippet of JavaScript in 5 minutes into the header of your site, any page that you want it to display on, and it adds that bar along the base. So we say, in terms of implementation, it's very easy. Building a community isn't an easy thing. There's a technological hurdle, and then there's a social and cultural hurdle. We're solving the technological hurdle so that you can really focus on why is somebody going to join your community. Right. Why is somebody going to engage? What's the goal? Is it to grow your community? Is it to engage that community? Is it really from a messaging standpoint? You want to show those website visitors. You want to humanize your organization or your company. So
I want to do all those things. People, sign up.
Great, excellent,
awesome. Yeah.
So what kind of success have you had with the web developing space? I mean, there's a lot of bloggers out there. There's a lot of I don't want to use this term. I'm not using this derogatory, but there's a lot of mommy bloggers out there, and there's a lot of just different types of bloggers. There's different web developers and all this other kind of stuff. And you touched on it a little bit, but just to speak to this. It's so easy to integrate this into your site, into your existing site. So if you are listening to this, which I know everyone in the world should and will, you should reach out. There is a way, and it was really easy for us to do, and it's solid and it works very well, and it's really nice. And so, what kind of success have you had in penetrating, getting that message across to developers to tell them that, hey, it's really not as hard as what you've come across in the past? Because I know that it's really easy as a developer to stop listening to someone when they're talking, especially about, hey, here's what you can do. All you have to do is this, and they're like, no, that's not true.
Right. No, I think I think you touched on how we're getting it out there. Right now, we're just coming out of our beta testing, so we've been really beta testing. And with a gradual build, so we have more beta testers now. But we've been doing that for about 6 months, 7 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. But we're going into that full-on launch. What we've been doing up until now has been a lot of unscalable things. So we've been reaching out, to relationships and talking to different, people within the St. Louis community, really getting that feedback so we can build the best product possible. So a lot of what we've been doing so far has been not really how we will end up distributing the product and really spreading it, but we have been talking to, ultimately we want to leverage distribution. We don't want to be selling a one and done sale and scale that. That's not very scalable. That's difficult to do. So what we want to be able to do, we're reaching out to digital agencies. We're reaching out to website builders, some of the larger website builders, publishers, large organizations that bring a lot, large number of members, as well as plug-in markets and some of the CMS systems. But that's ultimately how we want to really distribute, along with, hopefully, organic growth causing a network effect, and people hearing about it and using it as a member and maybe installing it on their site. So we're going that direction, and we're having a lot of success in terms of those conversations and the feedback that we're getting. Up until now, we've been really relying on sitting down with organizations, learning from them, learning what features they want. What they like. I like asking, what don't you like? What's the problem? Because otherwise people sugarcoat it and don't really say, what, they don't want to call your baby ugly. So
yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I was just thinking about all the times people told me that my stuff looked like. It must be the difference between me and you. I must do really bad work then. No, Kevin, you're up.
So as you exit the beta testing stage. What can people look forward to from Pushup Social in the future? Whether it's new, or what are some of your long-term visions for it?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think in the shorter term, we've got some really neat features coming out very soon. So we have a mobile app that'll be coming soon, very, very soon. It's actually in the Apple Store approval process at the moment. So that's exciting. People will be able to post to, with one membership, you can join multiple communities. Right. So I can be a member of, STLTechTalk. I can be a member of Big Brothers Big Sisters. I can be a member of Lab 1500. Right. If I'm on any one of those sites, it's only about that organization, very organizationally centric. But on the mobile application, I can pull up an aggregated feed of content from all of those communities. I can filter it down to just STLTechTalk. If if, for example, just a little bit ago, I took a picture of the computer and shared it to STLTechTalk's Pushup community, and that was from my mobile application. So nice. It's very, very user-centric or member-centric on mobile, very organizationally centric on the desktop. So that's one feature. One thing that we're introducing within the next week to 2 weeks. And my developers will kill me for giving deadlines or hard dates.
Right. He said, "What?"
Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
Deadline? No.
But one thing that I'm very, very excited about is up until now, you have had to log in to see content. Right. You've had to join to see any content, no matter what. And what we're doing, we're tweaking that a little bit. So if it's a very public organization, right. And really wants people to join, it's a public community versus a private community. We're going to be kind of lifting that veil a little bit and giving a preview of content, so that we'll be leading with the content versus leading with the promise of content. So I, as a website visitor on STLTechTalk.com, will be able to peer inside, see some of the posts that you've posted or that you've liked, or some of your brand ambassadors have posted, be able to see that public social feed. But really, to engage, you would need to log in. You would need to join. If you wanted to like something, if you wanted to share your own content, if you wanted to see a member profile, you would have to join. So really tweaking it so that we're leading with content versus leading with the promise of content. I'm very, very excited about that, mainly because it allows us to demo the product easier. Right. I think that's going to lead to more memberships, as well as it can make a push-up community really valuable in a day. As soon as you implement, you can message out and you can humanize that organization by showing some of that content. I'm excited about that one.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions, but one question that just popped into our Q&A over here. Can this be installed from within WordPress as a plugin or add-in? That's from Alejandro.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually have a WordPress plugin. If you search for Pushup Social, Pushup one word, social, second word, in the WordPress plugin marketplace, that's the one plugin that comes up. You can install it. Now you'll have to sign up for a Pushup community at pushup.com, but once you have that community ID, you can add that to the plugin and it installs like that. So we have WordPress, Joomla plugins. Our Drupal plugin is very close. It's actually it's being reviewed right now.
Yeah, don't give another deadline, Dan. Don't.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me there. But ultimately, it's a few lines of JavaScript that you paste into your header. You can use plugins, but if you can edit, if you can add a script tag to your site, you can do it.
Right.
Nice. So what kind of events are coming up that you would like our listeners and viewers, down the road to know about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're kind of doing this kind of PR month in September. We'll be doing 1 million cups in I think the 17th. I could be wrong, but I think it's the morning of the 17th in September. We're going to be doing. We're going to be there for Startup Voodoo, so that'll be exciting.
We will be there too.
Yeah, very, very cool. Really excited about that one. Ed and Aaron and their crew has been doing a tremendous job setting that up. So excited for that. I'm going to be doing the DTR Domain Tech Report early September. I'm not sure when that will air, but those are a few of the things that we've got on the docket at the moment. But really trying to get out there and just show that really. We've got to the point where this product just has tremendous value, and we're excited to really release it to the world and show people what it can do. It's difficult as well because it's not really a category that has existed before. So we're educating a little bit in terms of what it is, what it can do. We're not just selling a better widget. This is something that we think is kind of game-changing and transformational in what it can do for a site. We're really taking that value back and allocating it to that website and putting the community admin or organizational leader more in control.
And I just wanted to highlight it works on tablet, desktop, and mobile. So for people out there who are like, well, I only use this, right? It'll be on all your screens, so you won't have to concern yourselves with that. I mean, that's definitely a strong selling point, and another reason why listeners should either sign up or implement that on their site.
Exactly. Today we've got it on desktop and tablet. Mobile, as an admin, you can turn it on or off. So there's a responsive version. We're tweaking that, making it better. So depending on how well it works with your site, you can kind of turn it on or off. So if you don't see a mobile bar on a site, that's why. But ultimately, you're spot on. We want you to be able to interact with this community in any way, really in any device any current device.
Right, exactly.
Wonderful.
So it'll be there for sure.
All right. I mean, Dan, we could just sit here and talk the entire show.
Yeah, I just looked over at the show notes. I'm like, I don't want to let Dan go.
Yeah.
No.
With this last question, what do you see as the biggest challenge to startups going forward?
It's a very, very difficult question because there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of hurdles. There's a lot of difficulties. I'm gonna have to give you two.
Okay.
Even better.
And the first one is talent, especially for tech companies finding tech talent. And hopefully we can I think we're heading in the right direction with Launch Code and some of the other programs to increase the supply of developers. But that is currency in and of itself, and it's just as I guess scarce as monetary currency.
Right.
And which leads me to my point. Second point is funding. I think we're seeing a lot of companies right now, a lot of early stage companies that are growing and have received some funding. I think we have kind of a wave of companies that will be progressing through the St. Louis startup ecosystem, and there's already a need for more funding, more early stage funding, Series A money, Series B money. It's very difficult to do a Series A, Series B round with just St. Louis money. And in order to keep companies here, a substantial amount of the funding, the early stage funding, needs to come from here. So I think those two things are our biggest challenges but I think we're heading in the right direction. I think, like I said, we're celebrating our successes, which is something St. Louis hasn't done well in the past.
Right.
But we're doing it better now. We've got some tremendous media organizations, STLTechTalk.com, and other organizations that are paying attention, and that leads to more entrepreneurs jumping in, more investors jumping in, and more support organizations popping up. And so I think we're heading in the right direction, but it can be a bumpy road for a startup.
Understand.
Well, this was a lot. Yeah, definitely. I mean, this was a wonderful episode. Thank you so much for all you do with us, for us, and what we're going to be able to do in the future. I'm super excited about it. Once I have the shirt, then I'll be wearing that shirt every day. No, I like it. But, it'll be gorgeous. I'm telling you. I can make anything look. Hey, if I can make somewhat of a pinkish red shirt work, I can work it with anything. So where can people find out more about what you do, and like what's your handles and all that stuff? Sure.
I would say if you want to learn more about Pushup, Pushup Social, you can go to pushup.com. So it's kind of simple domain name, pushup.com. And that we've got some videos on there. We'll have a demo community very soon. If you want to demo Pushup, you can go to STLTechTalk.com and join the community. And we're always accessible too. So my email address is dan@pushup.com. Feel free to email me, or info@pushup.com. That gets to a team of us. But we want to hear feedback. We want to be, we're concentrating right now on rallying together St. Louis organizations to kind of build a core as we launch. So if you're a community, if you have the potential for passionate community, or you want to message, or you have a nonprofit, or just something, it doesn't have to be St. Louis centric, but we're really trying to reach out to that St. Louis core so that we can leverage that as we grow and kind of point to, this is where we started. This is the, these are the organizations that have supported us, and grow from there. So, yeah.
Man, Dan, I could literally listen to you talk for hours on end.
Thank you, JJ.
You could probably sell ice to an Eskimo. I'm not gonna lie. So thank you so much for being on tonight. We can't thank you enough again. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Congratulations on the child and everything that's happened to you recently. And I'm sure that everything will be a success going forward. So we look forward to hearing more about what you're doing on Push-Ups and on STL Tech Talk. We're going to have a post coming out soon for people to read and watch this and everything like that, and be a part of the happening. So thank you so much, sir, and have a wonderful evening.
Great. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure is ours.
Dan Lohman. Pushup.com. Not sure how he was able to get that wonderful domain name, but he sure managed to get that.
Okay, so that doesn't mean it's the end of the show, everybody.
No.
No, sir. No.
We've got more.
We've got more, and we might be running just a hair longer than normal, but that's just because you heard a whole lot of awesomeness just a minute ago from Dan. So we're going to keep the show going here, and let's see here. What's our first news story? Kevin, you're up with our first news story, sir.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed with all that awesome conversation just now.
Yep.
It was just great. All right, Amazon this week has purchased video game streaming service Twitch.tv for $1 billion. Again, we're talking B as in billion. Big numbers here. So there was talks that Google was interested in purchasing Twitch to pair up with their YouTube service, but apparently Google decided to back out, and Amazon stepped right in and purchased Twitch for $1 billion.
$1 billion. Whoever still gets that reference, thank you. Look, that's a lot of money, and Twitch is very popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great way to watch. If you're curious about a video game and you don't have the opportunity to just go out and test it and try it out for yourself, you can just watch people play these games. Like when Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U, and I'm sitting here just watching all the different people playing different maps and kind of getting a feel for the maps. And I don't even have a Wii U, and but that is definitely a system seller for me. I would buy a Wii U just for that game in particular.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. That's for sure.
But I just don't have the time right now, so eventually.
Oh, stop saying that aloud, Kevin. People know that no one ever has the time for any of that stuff. We need to at least pretend. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, I think that I'm a little concerned in kind of picking up where I left off, or where we left off rather, with Dan. It's social media platforms. We've seen Facebook overtake IBM as far as what it's worth in the stock market and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm just it's very interesting to watch this new market, right? Like this new marketplace of ideas, this new marketplace of services. Twitch TV always seemed a little, not underground, but just cool enough, right? To where, it was cool. I wonder if Amazon purchasing this is going to spawn kind of an exodus, or it's being uncool now, and there being offshoots of what it does, or if Twitch was doing this in such a way, if they were conducting themselves businessly in such a way that it was smart, effective, and fast and efficient, and there was just really no other good way to do it. I don't know. I really don't, and I'm gonna be really curious to see it going forward.
Yeah, real quick before we move on to the next story, Daryl had an interesting thought on this, that if Google would have purchased Twitch, might they have killed off Xbox integration? I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amazon, for now. Please don't kill off
for sure.
Twitch for Xbox. Jesus, that would be terrible. Hey, that's all right. That's but I'm not surprised. He's a very intelligent person. He listens to this show. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch, and good thing Google didn't buy him, because yeah, exactly. I mean, but Amazon competes in the same kind of area, so it's definitely nice to see that there's more than just one player. That's for sure.
Right.
The next up, my story, unless you don't want to move on for the story.
We can roll forward.
All right, roll right along. China doesn't like U.S. making operating systems for them. They really don't. So reading several different articles on this subject, China is, and when I say China, I'm not stupid. I understand that China is ginormous, and there's a whole bunch of regions, and there's a whole bunch of different, kind of government entities within China. But specifically, the government, the people's government, is really against this idea of U.S. companies making operating systems that their government systems run on. So there was some confusion there's been some confusion, and the reason why we need to pay so much attention to China is because there's so many people there. In fact, the number of people on the internet are actually more than the number of people in this country. But we'll set that aside, and the fact that they're a huge economic power is that they're people are allowed to go out and buy Windows software, whatever, and allowed to use it for an operating system, but the government themselves are looking to actually create their own operating system, I guess in response to the whole Windows XP situation, where XP is no longer being supported by Microsoft. If it is supported, then they're paying a premium for it, like some governments are, like I believe New Zealand and maybe some other ones. So what's your thoughts on this story, Kevin?
Just reading it, and I mean, you kind of know some of the history about China, and it's a very strict. It can be a very strict culture. Very determined, very, like you said, it's a large.
Easy.
I'm trying to stay politically correct, because sure. We have some, we do audience here.
Yes,
I want to try to stay good without trying to offend anybody.
Right.
To a point, I can understand why they are a little leery of companies like Apple and Microsoft and Google coming in and creating these operating systems, because of all the troubles that we have over here in the United States with the NSA and surveillance and monitoring and tapping and hacking, it's just all that stuff. I can kind of see where they're coming from with that. I mean, their smartphone market is pretty much dominated by Android devices, so, and where over in the United States you kind of lean towards, you know, iPhones being the more secure platform. So that's kind of an interesting aspect of this, kind of a twist.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, the first thing I would say is Android overall is, well, not Android. I'm sorry. When I say Android, I mean the open AOSP.
Right.
I don't mean necessarily Google Play, because you know people need to kind of make that distinction a little bit, I think. And you know, anyway, so I'm going to be curious to see what kind of operating system they do come up with. I wonder, because there are so many developers, if it's not just going to be just a Windows version in China. I'm kind of curious to see what that, you know, would look like, because obviously you know how you want this operating system to act to some degree. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the Tizen situation, where Huawei, a manufacturer, was talking about how Tizen would never take off, right? I wonder if it's going to be kind of the same general like thought process, like, yeah, whatever, it's just the government in China. I don't think, but I mean, again, that's a lot of municipalities, sort of the equivalency of that, you know, going into effect. So I'm definitely curious to see where it goes. Kevin, you're up with the next story.
All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about tonight is Global Hack. Global Hack 2 just wrapped up Sunday, yes, and by all accounts, it was an extremely successful event. I mean, this was the second Global Hack. Talking with Gabe Lozano, one of the main founders of Global Hack, he says he wants to have multiple Global Hacks each year. You know, whether it's 3 or 4, possibly each quarter, and doing 4 for a price of $50,000, and then he, kind of a long-term vision here. Doing one where the grand prize would be $1 million. That would be unbelievably awesome for the team that can do this. There was approximately 20 teams with over 200 attendees that signed up to participate in this. People coming from all over the world and all over the United States. The team that won, United Hackers, they were comprised of a group of individuals that came to this just on their own. They didn't come there as part of a team. They ended up, before they started, after they finished the opening ceremonies, they asked for everybody that were individuals that didn't have a team, come up to this front area. This group, United Hackers, joined together, and a couple guys from Los Angeles, from Florida, St. Louis, and just came together and took this project on and pulled it off and won. I mean, $50,000. They'd never met each other, and then here you go doing this. That's an amazing story, and one I was really happy to be there to see and cover. Yeah,
I wasn't able to make the very last day, but I can tell you that, and I say this on our video that we shot of the event, you will not, as a normal human being, understand the level of education that one can gain from an event until you go and participate, and you see how just how people can solve problems, right? In just 48 hours. Actually, well, obviously under 48 hours, but I mean, in 48 hours, and that's, to me, it's phenomenal, crazy, and it was an amazing story. And congratulations to all those involved, even those who didn't win. You still, I'm telling you, you walked away with something amazing. Just amazing knowledge.
We got to interview Maverick, pretty much the team's spokesperson. We interviewed him before because we knew who the three finalist teams were. We interviewed Zebra Hat first, then we interviewed Maverick from United Hackers, and then we interviewed Wise Guys after the announcement. So props to Zebra Hat and Wise Guys for making it to the finals. I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment in itself right there. But to see the enthusiasm between the two interviews with Maverick, from waiting to find out if you won to after you win, it was just really, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was just a great feeling to be able to see that enthusiasm and that excitement.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was phenomenal. It was just great to watch the footage and be there. Everybody, that was awesome. I'm up with my next news story, which is nail polish that detects date rape drugs is a fantastic idea. I second that.
Yes.
The reason why I'm talking about this right now is speaking of hacking. Hacking is an overloaded term, and I actually like using the term overloaded term. I like it because you can hack anything. You don't necessarily have to quote unquote hack a computer. You can hack life, whatever. There's actually a site, lifehacker.com, which is really awesome. I think it's .com. If it's not, I apologize. But long story short of it is, if we could create a nail polish that actually detect date rape drugs, that would, I mean, all you have to do is bloop, just one little dip. I mean, that is the kind of out of the box thinking and kind of duh moments that we need to have more often as a society. Because that was a really good idea, and I just wanted to throw that out there.
That is amazing.
Just
imagine, a woman, she's out at a
or a man, whatever
club, whomever. They're out at a club or something, and they just, kind of swirl their finger in their drink, and all of a sudden they see the color change and be like, oh, whoa.
Now it's on! Then you break the
like,
glass, and no, I don't advocate for violence, but you get them right there in the throat.
Push that away. So no, that's cool, because all that stuff would that's
Right. So awesome. I just wanted to get that out there for anyone who missed it. Everybody needs to talk about that because that's a phenomenal idea. Yeah. Kevin, you're up.
Yeah, we'll have a link to the Gizmodo.com article if you'd like to read more about it. It's a group of recent graduates from North Carolina State that came up with this. So definitely make sure you go read that article and check it out.
This show is on fire. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
All right. I'm going to jump down to one of my last stories there. Just time constraints and all. We'll put it at the end. Microsoft and Develop. We got kind of some sad news today in an email, sent out to everybody involved in the Develop community. That Microsoft and Develop are ending the Develop Ambassador program at the end of August. So a couple more days left. We talked with Rich Dunbar numerous times on the previous podcast. Greg Stoll from Austin. He's like our area's Develop ambassador.
Yep.
Really nice guy. He's always been great, informative contact, and always being available to talk when it comes to having questions. So it's kind of sad that they're doing this. It doesn't mean that the 9 guys are gonna just shut it down and no more Windows Phone.
I'm done.
They're still going to be involved. It's just they don't have the title and that backing.
So for some reason, maybe it just hasn't hit me yet. And for those of our listeners who listen to this later, are following STLTechTalk right now, I'm kind of having this whole conversation right now with Darren. So maybe it hasn't hit me yet, but I guess I feel like Microsoft's going to still come out and say something like, instead of doing it this way, we're going to do it this way instead, or something. I don't know, and still kind of hang them on, or I don't know. For some reason, I haven't let it sink in that they're not going to be there anymore. Because, as Darren just said, if there's one thing that the Windows Phone community needs, it's ambassadors.
Right.
I don't know how much you were paying them, but I'm pretty sure it was worth it. If you want this to stay alive, that's my thought. What's your thought?
You need enthusiastic people going around making sure, getting the word out about Windows Phone and the Develop program, which helps drive app creation for the Windows Phone platform.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, if you're going to slow that down, and you've already dropped from 3 point whatever percent down to 2.5-ish, 2.6% of market share, with like no really big devices coming out soon on Windows Phone.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do something to build up some enthusiasm with the quote-unquote troops.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hear the term
Well,
often.
friend of the show, Rich Dunbar. You know, he's been on twice, and frankly, one of the coolest people. And I know I say that about a lot of people, but there's a lot of cool people, all right. But no, I mean it when I say that I really appreciate the time that he doesn't have to take out, but he took out to not only be on this show once but twice and put up with us that many times. More me than you, obviously. But you know, to say let go is a good word. I don't know, but that kind of inspiration, those kinds of people who take the time out and who are in communities, that's not a good idea. So I hope that some version of this, maybe tomorrow I'll wake up and there will be a story, and this will all be a moot point. But as for right now, I'm starting to get upset.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, there's been a lot more articles. I know I tweeted something out late last week. For the life of me, I can't remember the writer's name, but she had spent she was normally an Android user, but she tried the Lumia icon for a month approximately, and she's like, I can't go back to Android. And I mean, to a point, that's kind of the same experience I felt. So you often hear the term, you know, the best such and such that nobody's using, and it's like Windows Phone is one of those situations. It's really a great platform that most people don't, unfortunately, give enough credit and enough of an opportunity to really try out, see how it'll work for them.
Yeah.
But hopefully with Verizon and HTC pairing up to release the HTC One M8 running Windows Phone, maybe that'll help a little bit, because people are already used to seeing the HTC brand and the HTC One, you know, name and stuff out there. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to really look at that and go, wow, I've got my choice of the same device, which is awesome, by the way, and I can either choose Android or Windows Phone. Maybe
nice.
This time I want this great hardware and I want to try it on Windows Phone.
Right.
See, I mean, to me, in a perfect world, with what Microsoft has got going on with Windows Phone and what's coming down the pipes, I would really love to see Samsung do the same thing with the Galaxy S5, put out an Android version and a Windows Phone version. They could do it, because that's how Windows Phone is now designed to work that way. So maybe Motorola maybe could do that in the future, because I know Lenovo, you know, they're the biggest retail, you know, producer of, you know, Windows computers.
Sure.
Desktop PCs, laptops. It's Lenovo, so kind of makes a lot of sense there. Now that they've got, I guess, has that sale gone through? I'm not 100% sure.
I believe it. Yeah, let's just call it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, you know, with them having Motorola Mobile,
sure,
they could just easily do that, because the new Moto X is Moto X Plus 1, Moto X1, whatever they're calling it. It's supposed to run a Snapdragon 801 processor, so that'll definitely run Windows Phone, no problem. Maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But don't wait 4 and 5 months after you release the Android version to put out the Windows Phone version. Do a dual launch. Just
do a dual launch. Just release it everywhere. You know, and hopefully we see that, right? Hopefully we see, you know, this uncarrier stuff, because if you're a carrier, I'm telling you, it's not. Wow, that kind of sounds bad. Like you're a carrier. We need to put you down. No, but don't be afraid of that thing. I mean, you know, if somebody likes your service, they like your service. You know, and then just, you know. But I guess that's not a very capitalist thing of me to say. So we're going to have some extra stories, like we're going to do from now on, meaning that if you want to catch some of the stuff that we didn't necessarily get to on the show, but we still thought was newsworthy and worth a read, we're going to have that on our website underneath this episode. information. So go to the website, STLTechTalk.com, to see more information and to sign up for push-ups. Again, thank you so much, Dan Lohman, for being on the show. You're an amazing person. I liked how every time, like, if he's still listening, you know, I heart you. He was every time. I'm telling you, it's bro love, yeah, for sure. I got nothing but love for him too. But so what was really cool is just how smart Dan is. You don't have to look hard for it, trust me. There's like subtle things he does where they're like, oh my, this dude is like really intelligent. I need to really watch what I say around him because I could really be easily stupid. Just a really great guy, so thanks for everything. Again, go to our site, check that out, sign up for push-ups. The next thing I'm going to drop down into, which I always do, which are charities you should all know about, Hope Line, a domestic violence prevention program supported by Verizon, the Women's Safe House here in St. Louis, Safe Connections, Schumann Water, and Hope for Young Adults with Cancer. All this information can be found on the show notes for this page. Kevin, I'm looking at our show notes, and I see a big gap right next to your name. What's going on here?
Yeah, give me just a second real quick, and I'm not going to do an app of the week. It's actually going to be a website of the week, and you know, Daryl, you know, one of our like favorite listeners here. I mean, the guy just keeps putting out content. You know, thank you for jarring my memory. That's Violet Blue
right.
From ZDNet, talking about that article that I just mentioned, the Windows Phone 1 month later. So yeah, that was a great article that I really enjoyed reading late last week. He shared another link with me earlier today via email, podcast@stltechtalk.com. Little plug right there. MicrosoftVirtualAcademy.com. If you want to learn more about Microsoft products, how to use them, get little tips and training, stuff like that for free, just visit MicrosoftVirtualAcademy.com. If you want to learn a little bit more about Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Office 2013 in general, or Windows 8, past, current, present products. Go check it out.
Nice. Very, very well done. Mine would be Click, CLIQUE, and that's for Windows Phone 8. It's great for meetups.com, which I suggest people check out. You know, just to, maybe if you're an organization or whatever the case may be, is definitely check out meetup.com and use, if you're on a Windows Phone, Click for Windows Phone 8, and that's a free application. Really well done, nice integration. Really happy to talk about that. Our upcoming announcements for the week, we have our Unidev speaker series. Wanted to get that out there. Wanted to let everybody know to go and sign up for that. You can click on the Unidev advertisement banner. It's not crazy. It's not going to take you and you're going to get all these pop-ups and stuff. It'll be okay. Go ahead and click on it on our site, STLTechTalk.com. It'll scroll to the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Sign up for the speaker series if you're in St. Louis, and go out and the speaker series. They're going to be talking about quality. You know, quality control and testers and all sorts of cool stuff, and meet other businesses, meet other professionals, and share, you know, business information and all that, and contact information and network. It's just a great opportunity presented by Angela LaRocca over there and the great people from Unidev. Much love again. Still wearing the shirt. Day 7.
Day 7? Okay.
Day 7, yeah. So we'll have a picture of tomorrow, and then this thing's it needs to be washed 7 times for the 7 days that I wear. Also, Strange Loop is coming up. I want to let everybody know we're going to be pushing out content for that. Yeah. Also, Startup Voodoo. Start Lewis, which is something that I need to add to the show notes right now for Kevin. Start Lewis. Lewis, how do you spell Lewis? Start Lewis. We'll have more information about that later, and also St. Louis Days of .NET. Yes, .NET is still alive and not dead. So everyone should go and check us out there. We're going to be presenting, which I actually need to fill out my speaker information here soon. Also need to get back to Jeff there. So again, everybody, thank you for listening to the show, and thank you again, Dan. Kevin, was there anything that you wanted to end to the end of this wonderful episode?
One last thing, we did participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge over the weekend.
I almost forgot.
Yes, so yes. For ALS, it's a very worthy cause, very deliberate. I can't even think what the name it is. Debilitating disease.
Yes.
But just go to youtube.com/STLTechTalk and you will find our Ice Bucket Challenge video.
Yes.
We challenged Dan Lohman in the Pushup social team.
We did.
Unidev, I saw Angela had a video out today. Her and another Unidev member, I believe, participated in the Ice Bucket Challenge. And also our friends at the Microsoft store in St. Louis. So.
Yeah, totally. I'm looking for. I don't see Angela. What here? Where did you see that at?
That was on her personal feed. Yeah.
That was on her personal feed. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Okay. Anyways, so awesome. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening to the show. Have a great rest of your day or evening, whatever the case may be. So from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, stay frosty. We're out.